Ms. Legalista here. Thank you for joining. Now, everybody has a cell phone, right? And if you're like me, you probably have thousands, thousands of photos and videos on your phone. You're doing selfies, you're doing time lapse, you're recording yourself doing whatever. I don't know. But I've got thousands of pictures and videos on my phone. And I can imagine some of you do too. Well, what happens when you take your phone into Verizon or AT&T only to find out later that some of the more intimate types of photos and videos that you may have kept on your phone have been shared with someone else without your permission? So let me go to this latest news report about this because I want you to hear what happened and how this person found out, because you may not know. You may not know that somebody has taken those pictures without your permission. But I want you to hear how this person found out about it. And again, how you can just stay on top of some of this stuff.
T-Mobile and Verizon are facing a string of lawsuits lately from women who allege retail employees stole intimate images or videos from their phones while helping them with in-store data transfers. CNBC.com's Gabrielle Fonrouf is here with the details. Yikes.
It's not good, Kelly. So the latest lawsuit against AT&T was filed today in California State Court. And all of these lawsuits, they all sound exactly the same. I have read so many of them. A woman walks into an AT&T phone store, a Verizon phone store, T-Mobile store, looking to get their device upgraded or replaced. And in the process, the company offers turnkey data transfer services. And of course, the consumer willingly hands over their phone, thinking that it's safe in the custody of this retail employee. And in the process, the employee ends up going through the photos, finding intimate images and videos. And in this case, a woman said that a video of her engaged in sexual activity and nude photos of her were taken by the store employee.
I've never liked when you walk into the store and they take the phone. I think it's probably the part that we all feel a little uncomfortable about. I mean, there's so much personal information on these phones. Is there anything that these companies, aside from hopefully now the public pressure bringing something to bear on them changing this process, is there a bigger change that could kind of help avoid these errors going forward, or do they just need to do a lot more to put up safeguards?
So it's all of that. They absolutely need to be doing more because these things keep happening. At least 6 other times in the past, AT&T has been accused of similar incidents. Verizon and T-Mobile, at least a dozen other cases. This has been an ongoing issue. Like I said, it's Groundhog's Day reading these headlines. But what has changed is in April, there was a case that was filed against T-Mobile. We broke that news in November when the case was filed. In April, a judge ruled on the case. T-Mobile had sought to have the case dismissed. Almost always, virtually all of these cases got dismissed because the courts agreed with the phone companies that the employee was acting outside of the scope of their duties, and therefore the company was not liable. But what was different in this landmark court ruling is that this judge in Washington federal court actually said, you know what, there is a chance that the company is liable. This has happened so many times. They did know that this was a problem. They allowed the case to move forward. It's now headed for trial. It's now this AT&T case. It might have a better chance of surviving.
Not to get too granular or too stuck in the weeds here, but how do the employees capture these images off the phone when it's going from one phone to another? Are they carrying them also over to their own devices and then just using them? They're not selling them to blackmail the people, are they? Or what do they do with the images other than consume them, I suppose?
So, when this tends to happen between intimate partners, it is used as a kind of revenge. It might be posted online. But in terms of the store employee, they're using it for their own personal gratification.
For voyeuristic intent, I suppose.
Exactly. You can fill in the blanks. But what they end up doing is they either email it to themselves from the victim's phone, and which is what happened in the AT&T case that was filed today. In the past, they send it over Snapchat. They might text it. And these are only the cases that the victim actually figured it out. Because the employee didn't properly cover their tracks. And so in this case with AT&T, the woman about a week later was going through her sent box on her email, and she noticed that 2 emails were sent to an address that she didn't recognize, and those emails contained those intimate images.
So creepy. All right, so now we know how it happened and what you need to be looking for. But I want to backtrack for a second and talk about this motion to dismiss, because she hit it right on the head. You're suing AT&T, Verizon, T-Mobile, whoever it is, and the telephone provider is going to say, look, that's not what that person was supposed to be doing. I didn't hire that person to do that. That's outside the scope of their employment, their job, their responsibilities, and therefore we are not liable. Well, even before she said it, I knew. It's sort of like, well, after a while, if you see that there's a problem here, then at some point in time, you bear some responsibility. And the question becomes, at what point is the court going to say, enough is enough here? AT&T, T-Mobile, whoever, enough is enough. How many times do people have to keep coming back and telling you, you have an issue with your employees doing this particular thing and doing it again and again and again, and it's resulting in this kind of harm to your customers? And we aren't just going to let you off the hook when this keeps We aren't just going to let you off the hook when this keeps occurring. At some point in time, now I don't know what the actual claim was, but I would say, sure, it sounds to me like there's some negligent hiring going on here, some negligent training going on here. You don't have the mechanisms in place, and yet you keep telling customers, come in. We'll provide this service for you. You pay for it. We'll take care of this for you. Don't worry, we got you. And customers come in and do that only to find out that you've got people here taking information off of phones and sharing it with other people. Now, for most of us, it's probably not going to be anything intimate, but still, they're your personal photos. It may be also personal financial information. When do we get to that point? Like right now, they're talking a lot about certain photos, but when it starts to impact people's wallets and their pocketbooks and their money and their credit score and credit rating and all of that, when it's identity theft and fraud and scams, and people find that they've been taken advantage of because some cell phone provider knew that they were having this issue and didn't do anything about it. You can imagine a court is not going to sit back and just let you continually get away with that. What typically is going to happen in a case like this, it starts off, just as she said, with the motions to dismiss, right? And then finally, after you've had so many of these, whichever attorney gets it that last time is going to say, look, court, let me show you how many times this keeps happening. We're going to bring all of these other all these other complaints that have been filed before you, so you can see time and time again that they had knowledge of this and that they did nothing, not a thing. So what can you do to keep yourself protected until they figure this whole thing out? Because it does sound like it's not just negligent hiring and training. They've got a gap here in security in terms of protecting personal information. And they are required to do that. You've got people's information here. You're supposed to be protecting it. What can you do to make sure that your information has not been compromised? First of all, you want to take anything that is sensitive off of your phone. You want to take anything. You want to remove any sensitive information. I'm not just talking about photos. It could be pictures that you've taken. If you're a business owner and you have client information where they have shared documents with you, a lot of times clients will be like, can I just take a picture of it and text it to you? So now that's on your phone. Now somebody else who has your phone might have that information. And so for business owners, for people who just may be working with other people, for those of you who may be interacting with minors and may have information about minors, this now is a big concern. So go ahead, number one, remove any sensitive information from your phone, number one. And number two, ask the employee whether or not they can do whatever it is they're doing right there in front of you. So you can see, I want to see what you're doing. So put the new phone here, put my old phone here, and I want to see exactly what you're doing. It's your property. It's your phone. This sort of idea where they go to the back room, because I've seen them do that. They go to the back room with your phone and they come back out with this new phone and everything's up there. That's great. but it needs to be done in front of you where you can see what is going on. And then finally, you need to do just as this person did when you get your phone back, the new version, go through, make sure there haven't been any messages sent, anything downloaded to and sent someplace else. Check all of that before you walk out of the store. And if you have any questions about something that looks suspicious on your phone, ask to speak to a manager then and clarify with them, what is this on my phone? Because it looks like something happened here and I'm a little concerned. So I need you to explain this to me. And that's where we have to be now, unfortunately. That is where we have to be. So I left that up so you can still see it. AT&T's photo theft allegations. We're going to see where this continues to go. Like they said, the judge did not throw this out in April. So I suppose it's still proceeding forward at this point. I haven't heard anything else about it. But do those three things that I just talked about. First of all, remove any sensitive information you already have. Stay right there and watch. Tell them you want to see what they're doing. And number three, double check when they're done and make sure that there haven't been any, moving around of anything. Nobody's sending anything from your phone while you did not have it. All right. Hope that brings you up to speed on this particular, I don't even know what I want to call this. Is it a scam? I don't know. Whatever you want to call this. I hope this brings you up to speed. Don't forget to like the video and don't forget to subscribe. Peace.